A story that is going to only get bigger as the months and weeks roll by. 400 days to perhaps when in 2024 India will elect a new Prime Minister. Or perhaps, viewers, India will elect Mr. Narendra Modi for the third time running. We don't know. It's all in your hands, of course. But Narendra Modi is priming the Bharatiya Janata Party to propel the NDA towards what would be a hat-trick in 2024. The second term for Modi, as we all know, and we've all lived through these times, has been beset by a once-in-a-century black swan event. The COVID pandemic upset just about every nation's calculations, including those of India. Here, of course, it produced hardships. But the general consensus is that out of all the leading democracies and economies, India has emerged the best place. Experts have cited a variety of reasons, including a comprehensive vaccination policy and judicious economic management, and said that a combination of this has allowed India to today escape the ravages that we are seeing in some of the other nations. In fact, in this period, India has also entered an exclusive club, viewers, of the top 5 economies in the world. At number 5, various estimates say that it is going to move up to 3 by either 2027 or a year or two after that. But unfortunately, India's optimism on reaping the economic benefits of having tamed COVID more effectively than others have been hit by headwinds unleashed by the Ukraine war. Given the unstable global landscape that stares us in the face, the Prime Minister has cautioned the BJP against complacency. With only 400 days left for the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, the Prime Minister believes that the Bharatiya Janata Party cannot just count on his own image and that it must deliver to people what they're aspiring towards. Putting Samaj Niti over Rajniti is the Prime Minister's mantra. And he says that forget about winning an election, just focus on this and people will reward you. But if you don't focus on this, you've got a problem. PM Modi also urged all workers to work as hard as they can, because he says that the intention of the party is to lead Bharat into Sarvottam Kal, and that Amrit Kal must be turned into Vikas Kal. Now listen in to Devendra Fadnavis, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, as he details the Prime Minister's 2024 vision for BJP. Rather, the Home Minister of Maharashtra, as he details the Prime Minister's vision for the BJP ahead of the general elections. Listen in, viewers.
प्रधानमंत्री जी का उद्बोधन ये प्रेरक भी था, दिशा दर्शक भी था और भविष्य की राह दिखाने वाला था। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कही वो ये थी कि भारत के जीवन का सर्वोत्तम काल आ रहा है, हम सामने देख रहे हैं। ऐसे समय हम लोग मेहनत में पीछे न रहे, प्रयत्नों की पराकाष्ठा करें, अपने जीवन का क्षण क्षण और अपने शरीर का कण कण हम भारत की इस विकास गाथा में लगाए और भारत के इस सर्वोत्तम काल के साक्षी हम लोग बन सकते हैं।
There you heard it. While pledging to put Samaj Niti over Rajniti, the BJP has also warned voters in general to steer clear of the negative politics of the opposition, especially disinformation and diatribes aimed at discrediting the Prime Minister. Through a political resolution, the Saffron Party cited the Supreme Court's recent verdicts that punctured many of what the BJP called are the opposition's fake claims. Listen in to the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, who was, of course, speaking in the capacity of an office bearer here at the National Executive meeting that was held in the Union capital.
हल्के भाषा में या अब्यूसिव लैंग्वेज के साथ, नेगेटिव टोन के साथ प्रधानमंत्री जी को व्यक्तिगत नीचे दिखाते हुए भाषा के साथ बार बार जो नेगेटिव कैंपेन होते रहा, उन सब में लीगली कोर्ट एक के बाद दूसरा करके सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक मामला हर एक बार गया और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हर एक बार उन 9 मुद्दे के ऊपर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के द्वारा नेगेटिव डिसीजन, मतलब ऑपोजिशन के खिलाफ डिसीजन जो हुआ, पेगासस, सिमिलरली राफेल, ये एनफोर्समेंट तीसरी एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट द्वारा मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग का केसेस चलाना और एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट के ऊपर ही केसेस लगवाना और उसके ऊपर प्रश्न चिन्ह उठाना, इन सब के ये तीसरी। फोर्थ, सेंट्रल विस्टा के ऊपर कितने टीका टिप्पणी करने वाले, बेबुनियाद आरोप करने वाले ऑपोजिशन को सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक मामला गया और उधर सटीक जवाब मिला। और इकोनॉमिक बेसिस के ऊपर रिजर्वेशंस, वो 5वीं और 6ठी डीमोनेटाइजेशन। सो ऑपोजिशन हर बार पर्सनलाइज्ड कैंपेन और बेबुनियाद आरोप चलाते हुए आखिर जब मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक गया, उनके बात साफ सुथरा हुआ।
Rahul Gandhi says, indulged in India's biggest ever scam by signing the Rafale jet deal with France. In fact, Rahul Gandhi went to the hustings before 2019 and during 2019 to say that the Prime Minister was a chore, that the Chokidar was a chore. The Supreme Court in 2019, after the elections, came out and said all review petitions dismissed and that any claim of wrongdoing lacks merit. Pegasus spyware, that erupted in 2022. Again, Rahul Gandhi, principal opponent, or at least who positions himself as a principal opponent, principal challenger to the Prime Minister, said Modi government bought Pegasus to snoop on its rivals and ordinary Indian citizens. Again, the Supreme Court ruled that inconclusive proof that Pegasus used in 29 phones. They said that 29 phones had been compromised. But then the Supreme Court, of course, came out and said that that was not quite the case. EWS quota, again, and Central Vista. The Central Vista is a criminal wastage, Rahul Gandhi said in May 2021. But the SC refused to stay the HC order on the Central Vista work, saying that there was, in fact, some benefit. EWS quota. EWS quota, nothing but a midnight robbery, said Manoj Jha of the RJD, is a member of parliament. The Supreme Court, in a majority verdict, upheld the EWS quota. This happened, of course, earlier, late last year. So viewers, here is what, of course, the BJP is taking umbrage at. A campaign of calumny against the Prime Minister to dent his image, to embroil him in controversies, to suggest that he in fact is undermining India's democracy and is a threat to it. There are, of course, several other instances also where viewers, the opposition's negative campaign, we are bringing you all these hard facts so that we can ask some basic questions tonight and so that we can have an informed debate. The BJP says that and it's obviously taking a jibe at the Bharat Jodo Yatra, says that Jhoot Jodo is the opposition's 2024 mantra, and that stitching together all these lives in a narrative is actually doing a disservice to democracy, because disinformation makes for ill-informed voters making the wrong choices. Is this a fact? Is this a question that can be supported with bona fide evidence. Fundamentally, viewers, let's open this up. And I want to begin with Sanjay Jha. The government has acknowledged that there has been a tough period that the economy has gone through, no doubt about that. But they also say that had some of their policies not been as proficient, India would not be as well placed as it is today, that you know what they have said. How do you respond to this charge from both the government and the party? Sanjay Jha.
Well, Rahul, first and foremost, I'm glad you want an informed debate, and therefore just give me a limited time and I will debunk the absurdities that Nirmala Sitharaman indulged in, which is nothing but selective cherry picking. Here is the finance minister who is not even aware of what the Supreme Court, not the opposition, what the Supreme Court has talked about this government, which I believe is a mammoth shame for any political party in any democratic world. Do I need to remind Nirmala Sitharaman through your show as to the words used by the Supreme Court judge on the Nupur Sharma issue? On Pegasus, guess what the Supreme Court actually said? The Supreme Court said there is not conclusive evidence, but that was because the Modi government did not cooperate with the investigation. They said they found 5 cases of malware out of the 29 phones. And they said the government gave a limited affidavit where they actually were not even very clear about what their position was. The Supreme Court said the petitioners have a very strong case, and they mentioned there that there is a very strong argument to investigate illegal surveillance in India. This government is on the mat, Rahul, trust me. And I will give you one more point on demo, and I'll give you the answer on the economy. Here you have a situation on demonetization where the Supreme Court talked about procedural and whether the protocols were followed or not. The Supreme Court did not say a word on the 140 people who died, the MSME sector that was devastated, the informal sector that continues to pay a price today, and an Indian economy, Rahul, and these are facts because I'm all prepared for the debate already on the budget day. Over the last 3 years, if you look at India's GDP growth, it is actually 2.7%. And from the pre-pandemic levels. So India really hasn't grown. We haven't grown on GDP. The truth is that even this claim that we are the fastest growing economy is humbug. It is Saudi Arabia, which, by the way, is today the fastest growing economy in the world. And we are the poorest among the G20 countries on per capita income. I mean, how does Mr. Modi and his party have the audacity, I would call it the effrontery, to come on TV shows and blame the opposition? This is hard data. We will obviously, Rahul, I will be with you on the budget day, I'm sure. But the truth is, here is a government that even on Rafale, and I want to mention this to you. Let me end with this argument. On Rafale, there has been no investigation on the corruption because the government did not appoint a JPC.
Okay, let me get Sanju Verma in. Sanju Verma, please respond to Sanjay Jha. He set it up with some accusations of cherry picking.
Rahul, first and foremost, let's get to the key debate here, which is with respect to the economy. Sanjay Jha spoke, about demonetization, and I have written more on demonetization than perhaps anybody, not only on this panel but otherwise as well. And let me tell you some hard facts. What is the argument being given by Modi naysayers? 99.3% of the money that was demonetized came back to the banking system, so demonetization was a failure. Let me educate Sanjay Jha and others who think like him. Anybody who has a basic understanding of economics knows that simply because money that was taken out came back into the banking system does not mean demonetization was a failure. In fact, it means that a large part of the money that earlier was not accounted for today has a digital trail and a digital footprint, point number 1. Point number 2, even before demonetization, 65,000 crores of black money was recovered by way of the income disclosure scheme. 53,000 crore of indirect tax leakages were plugged in. and 62,000 crore of money which was laundered into foreign banks came back into the system. Please read Arun Jaitley's blog on demonetization and you will get your numbers right. Now, speaking of GDP growth, we are all aware that the world has been in the throes of a recession for a while now, including the biggest economies, US, UK, Germany, what have you. Last year, India's GDP growth was 8.7%, the fastest growing economy globally. This year, we are going to end with 7% growth, again the fastest growing economy globally. Even now, the inflation in Germany, UK, US is between 7 to 10%. Just yesterday, the wholesale inflation numbers came out. Wholesale inflation in India is 4.95% and food inflation, mind you, is only 0.65%. This, when countries like US are actually grappling with the highest food inflation since 1970. Can you imagine India doing almost 13 lakh crore worth of trades every single month? And Sanjay Jha has the audacity.
It's up to our other panelists also. Yes, very quickly.
Yeah, two quick points. If you look at the data released by the government, the NSO, Rahul, it establishes that actually 82% of India's working class, and I'm talking about not just the middle class, I'm talking about really principally the rural workers and the urban workers, are worse off in their income. They're worse off than they were in 2019. They haven't seen any growth in income at all. I mean, you can't call a 0.25% as any positive growth. They are worse off.
No, Rahul, I need to come
Okay, I just want to step in here. I just want to step in here because we can keep going back and forth between the BJP and the Congress. I just want to, 1 second, Sanjay Jha, please give me 30 seconds. I just want to put on record. Now, viewers, the OECD, what did it say about the Indian economy? According to OECD, India is set to be the second fastest growing economy in the G20. Very important. In FY 2022-23, behind Saudi Arabia, despite decelerating global demand and the tightening of monetary policy to manage inflationary pressures, India's GDP will slow to 5.7% in FY 2023-24 as exports and domestic demand growth moderate, while inflation will crimp private consumption but moderate at the end of the projection period, helping along with improved global conditions to boost growth to 6.9% in FY 24-25, in line with the 20-year average, excluding the COVID-19 recession, the report noted. So this is, viewers, OECD. Now, I want to bring in Smita Prakash, who's an observer of politics. Smita Prakash, let's talk in more macro terms here. The BJP says that it's a victim of Jhoot, Jodo politics, so to speak. Would you agree to this claim, or do you think this is once again a hypothesis that is being put out to cover the failures of this government? Where do you stand on this?
I hope you have the stomach for more of this diatribe and this tutu meme, which is going to continue for the next 2 years. I think we all need guts of steel the way things are going. I think the BJP, saying that they are victims, it doesn't seem like they are victims. It's going to be something which is give and take. They have been giving equally strongly with as far as attacking the BJP Congress is concerned, or attacking the TMC, Kejriwal, whoever is in the opposition in the various states. As far as Nirmala Sitharaman saying that they are victims, I don't think so. Yes, they will claim that on Rafale, on Pegasus and stuff like that, they were on the right and the opposition was faking it. Not just disinformation, misinformation is what they were putting out, and a combination of the two, if I may say. So this is going to be something that we're going to see more and more of. But what the severely personal attacks that the Congress has been making, I think in the BJP there has been a lot of talk among the mid-level and the lower level that the seniors need to take on the Congress. It's not enough for the rank to the 350 odd delegates who have come in this bitter cold weather to the capital to say what the agenda is going to be. And I think Mr. Fadnavis has given the new buzzword, which the Prime Minister seems to have given. They love these new terms. And I find it quite catchy. Jeevan ka kshan kshan or shareer ka kan kan in the service of the nation. Alliteration, no doubt, but it also means that put everything aside, and the next 2 years is something which is going to be in the development of the country, and that has to be the agenda of the party and the citizen.
Well, let me bring in Mr. Mitra also here, another observer of politics, Dr. Sumansi Raman and the TMC. Let's bring them all in to this conversation. Mr. Iyer, I just want to ask you, let's for a moment agree that the data today...
we can't be brought together. I mean, this is absolutely not done.
Sorry?
You can't brought three together and give the other three, different platform. We can't be brought together. You give us the equal time.
I will. I'll come to each one of you.
My party.
I'll come to each one of you. I only mentioned the three of you because now I want the viewer also to know that I'm going to focus on each one of you.
Bring us together.
Have some patience, sir. You talked about Smita Prakash having nerves of steel. I've gone through this now for the last 8 years.
My party has been waiting for the last 25 minutes without speaking a single word.
Yes, okay, Professor. Let's not be so full of ourselves. Mr. Iyer is no less than you, and neither is Dr. Sumansi Raman. If you think they are lesser animals, lesser humans, lesser species, you can say so.
Oh, I did not say that.
Well, that you're implying that, isn't it? That you're being made to wait. Please, let me conduct this debate.
No.
Let me conduct this debate the way I deem fit. Calm down, Professor Mandol. You're just going off on a rant.
Second most
calm down.
Strong opposition lead political party in the parliament, with the maximum number of MPs. You need to give that.
Must learn to wait your turn, sir. This is not a VVIP. No, hang on. You are maybe a VVIP, sir, but just wait your turn, please. Others are also giving their time. And I'm allowing everyone to speak, but you're eating into their time by engaging me like this.
That VVIP culture.
Okay, I'm not engaging with you, Mr. Mandol. Look, you are happy. Please be patient.
Seen that in the Indigo flight.
Please be patient, Professor Mandol. Please be patient.
And we know how to wait patiently.
Okay, good. So I'm requesting you. I'm indulging. I want to indulge your patience tonight, not provoke it, please. Okay, Mr. Iyer, look, let's for a moment say that Sanjay Jha is right when he talks about the NSO data and also the Labour Bureau numbers, because they have been put out and they seem to suggest that there have been income level drops in certain categories, especially some of the more vulnerable ones. Farmers' incomes have declined by 1.5% per year between 2016-17 and 2020 and 2021. This is a fact. This is there. Yeah. Based on the monthly data from the Labour Bureau, real wages in non-agriculture occupations between September 2022 declined by 0.9% per annum. Not able to convince voters that it actually has a narrative that will benefit them or policies that will benefit them. Why is it that the BJP has come back so strongly twice?
So, Rahul, this is the big question, isn't it? Because, every opposition should constantly oppose the government. They're not allowed to give the government any breathing space. They should be hounding the government. That is the job of the opposition. That is what keeps the government on its toes. The problem is the opposition has a responsibility to itself and to the nation to be credible. Now, you can't, for example, start off on a Bharat Jodo Yatra you claim will heal hate, but then have the same person say, I have walked 2,800 kilometers and seen no hate. Then what are you opposing exactly? You remember Rahul Gandhi had to go to court and apologize for saying that the court said Chaukidar Chor hai during the Rafale judgment. Right. Yep. So there is a requirement for credibility, and unfortunately, Rahul Gandhi fails that test very badly. This is number one. Number two, there is this sort of, I'm sorry to say this, but this kind of mirth that has been generated. There is this fundamental asymmetry of approaches. Rahul Gandhi keeps portraying Narendra Modi as Darth Vader. And if anybody's actually been to a Star Wars movie, Darth Vader is the second most popular character after the hero of the movie. Right. On the other hand, the BJP does something else. They keep ridiculing Rahul Gandhi and call him Pappu, and they've reduced him to the status of a joker. And the problem is, you will probably go and watch a Govinda movie, but you really won't vote for Govinda. Right. So there is this fundamental asymmetry. The Congress doesn't seem to learn. They don't seem to learn how to gain credibility. And see, here's the thing. Ultimately, what is the ultimate proof of the pudding, Rahul? It's an election, right? You've seen the way Gujarat went. Now, you tell me one state that has more medium and small industry than Gujarat. Gujarat is literally the bellwether of medium and small industry. If they had suffered so much, they would have voted the BJP out. They haven't done that. Right. Gujarat was the petri dish for all the agricultural reforms and things that Modi wanted to introduce. And in fact, that is what consolidated his control to the point that no party has been able to challenge the BJP in Gujarat for the last 30 years. If they wanted to, those same agricultural workers should have voted Modi out.
Yeah.
Yet they did not. So, there is fundamentally the INC. Everything that Sanjay Jha might have said is true. Of course, these things are always shades of grey. But in spite of being these great truth speakers, they're simply not able to get through to the public. And there is zero introspection within the party.
Okay, let me bring in the TMC. No, one second. Now, let me bring in the TMC. Professor Monojit Mondol, who has had a harrowing time listening to all our other four speakers. Now, Professor Mondol, let me ask you, sir. And this is an important question. We are on the point of conceding that there are problems. Obviously, 8 years, there are problems. There are apparent. But why is it that the TMC, for example, cannot emerge as a national alternative? You tried your luck in 2 states, you got wiped out. Beyond Bengal, that is. It's obvious that your message is faltering. And maybe it is because you yourself have been accused of falling short on some very important issues. Corruption, for example. Corruption cases dog you. Mamata Banerjee recognized that there was a cut money crisis. She admitted it. Then there is selective secularism. You talk about the lack of sabka saath in this country, this, that, the other. The courts themselves have pulled you up on selective secularism. Then there's post-poll violence. All of these things suggest that you're not the alternative. That's why you will remain perhaps the second largest party in the opposition, says the BJP. I'm not saying it. The BJP says it. How is this possible? Even the Aam Aadmi Party has grown beyond its basic state of Delhi. It has won at least Punjab. It is growing faster than your political outfit and is becoming a national party. How come you haven't been able to occupy that space?
No. First of all, I did not have any harrowing time listening to some of the speakers, including the BJP spokesperson who was insidiously involved in a kind of self-exaltation about our economic acumen. I did not have harrowing time, but I had every right, my party has every right to, register a protest when you are making us wait for half an hour. So no question of having harrowing time. I was listening to all of them patiently. Coming back to a question, perhaps you are not aware of the fact that in the eastern part of the country, in one particular state, in fact 2 particular states, TMC is now the second biggest opposition party, Meghalaya and Tripura. And mark my words, in next 2-3 months when there will be elections, TMC is going to win both the states in terms of the assembly election. By now only, even before the announcement of election, in all 60 seats in Meghalaya, TMC, my party, has already declared their candidates. Declaration of the election, my party has announced their candidates in all 60 seats in Meghalaya. So that's to answer to a question about whether TMC is spreading beyond Bengal. Please correct yourself. Coming back to the issue of the successful government that you are talking about, I will talk about two laws. My friend Sanjay Jha has talked about economy and all. I'm not going into the detail of how price rise is going on, petrol, diesel, edible oil, Aam Aadmi, Achhe Din. Everyone can understand. And unemployment rate and shrinking market. I'm not going into the detail. I will pick up two laws. One of the laws that you mentioned about CAA. How many years have passed by now after the passing of that particular law? 3 years. More than 3 years have passed by and you are yet to implement this law, but you began this discussion by saying that this is one of the strongest parts of the government. Point number one. Come to another law, farm law. Again, it was passed with a much fanfare and hullabulla. What happened to the government? They had to retract and take back these laws. If you say that these are the successful symbols of the government, and if we say that we are talking about the negatives, then God forbid I should not be in any kind of debate. If we state the fact and we become negative campaigners, then the opposition has no space. Now come to the issue of democracy. A nation's democracy is judged by way of the freedom of expression. What are you doing with the people? We have my friend Sanjay Jha has already given an example of what is happening in Madhya Pradesh. Yeah. Let me pick up my own friend. Saket Gokhale. You have arrested him thrice. Gujarat police arrested him thrice, sounded him from Rajasthan for tweeting something, rightly, wrongly, that's beside the point. I repeat, for putting out a tweet, and that symbolizes the degree of democracy that this government is indulging in today's world. We are not arresting anyone like Amit Malviya, who have been continuously deriding my leader, my government, my people for the last 3 years.
Your own tribesman.
COVID pandemic.
Okay.
Ever since the COVID pandemic.
One second,
Let him finish. Leader of BJP. I repeat, we did not arrest any political leader of BJP, despite the fact that they have been deriding my political leader, my chief minister, my state, and even the people of Bengal for the last 3-4 years. Continuously.
You see, one of the reasons why viewers, the TMC doesn't want to talk about about inflation, etc. Okay, Professor.
We have not registered any single case against these people.
I see. I'll tell you. You know how many cases the Bengal government has filed against me for my freedom of expression? There are 6 of them. Do you know my correspondent and our bureau chief, Tamal Saha? 1 minute. He hides. No, 1 second. No, just 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. We are talking about freedom of speech. Now, don't shout over me, sir. I never shouted over you.
I tell you.
Let me set the record straight. 1 second, my friend. 1 minute, my friend. 1 minute, my friend. Let me set the record straight. You think you're going to intimidate me here? You're never going to do that, my dear friend. Now listen to me, viewers. He says viewers were attacked. It goes into details. The courts have issued notices to the Bengal government. That's the freedom of expression. Basic. Now don't shout over me. I'm correcting the picture. You talk about how you have grown in Tripura. Do you know what the vote share of the TMC in Tripura was? 0.3%, viewers. 0.3%. It's like saying that the AAP won Gujarat.
Nothing has been delivered on that particular investigation by CBI.
This man has
in 2019, the West Bengal police arrested Priyanka Sharma, a BJP functionary, for sharing a meme on Mamta Banerjee. Now let me expose this. No, hang on. This gentleman who wanted to... No, 1 second. This gentleman, viewers... Okay, he's not... I'm going to have to lower your fader, Professor. I have to bring in the patient. Dr. Suman C. Raman, the good doctor. Now, 1 second, Professor. 1 second, please. Don't shout over me. It's not fair. Now, let me tell you, viewers. Mamta Banerjee refused to cut VAT on fuel in May 2022. She attacked the centre constantly. For not doing its duty by the people. At a hard time for inflicting pain on the people. And we all paid, viewers. We were all upset about that. But when it came to leading, Mamta Banerjee refused to cut VAT in May 2022. In 2019, he says that, look at how our our spokesperson, Sakit Gokhale, has been treated. Well, Sakit Gokhale, let me tell you, viewers, in 2019, the West Bengal police also arrested Priyanka Sharma, a BJP functionary, for sharing a meme on Mamata Banerjee. And a professor belonging to the same tribe as Monojit Mondol was jailed for asking a question. And I'll tell you something, viewers, just a few days ago, Derek O'Brien put out a video saying that this is how journalists question or should be questioning prime ministers. And he talked about how Rishi Sunak was pincered very effectively. I loved it. By, viewers, a Scottish journalist. Do you know what happened when a journalist asked a few questions of the TMC government on this show? And you know who that journalist is? That's me. I didn't even get to the chief minister. They slapped 8 cases. I was, viewers, interviewed at 3 in the morning by their police.
Wow.
And I was just doing my job. That's their record.
Shame on TMC.
That's their record. Anyhow, Dr. Suman Sriraman, I don't think anyone can today talk about upholding the spirit of democracy and free speech. Let's all be honest. All political parties are guilty of trampling it. Sanjay Jha talked about, for example, bulldozers. He forgot that his own chief minister ran a couple of bulldozers a few days ago, in fact, knocked down the wrong house in the process. Mr. Gehlot, we are talking about, his government. So let's be a little more alert to the lies that are being spewed all around. But I just want to come out to you, Dr. Raman, and this is an important point. Let's assume for a moment that Sanju Verma is the biggest fake news spreader here on this panel. Why is it that the opposition is not getting the benefit of the doubt from the public? Why is it that the TMC only gets 0.3% of the vote in Tripura and the BJP gets 90% plus? How is it? In straight contests, in Goa, the BJP chief minister, after being accused of the governor of corruption, comes back to power. How is it? Dr. Raman.
Rahul, yeah, if you will give me 90 seconds. First of all, before I answer this question directly, I want to point out about the demonetization, the long talk that Sanju Verma made about its glory. Tell me one election campaign where the BJP has gone to the electorate and spoken about demonetization. One election campaign. If at all there was any proof needed about how successful demonetization was, that is it. The fact that it was not mentioned even once. Second, we are obsessed and talk about growth. India is the fastest growing second in the economy in the world. Whose growth is it? 1% of the country's richest own 40% of the country's wealth. 10%, top 10% own 77%. 60 million people are being pushed into poverty due to healthcare costs every year. I am not saying all this. This is the Oxfam report. And 119 families in India have more wealth than the union budget. Please understand, this is the kind of growth that we have been talking about. Whose growth is it anyway? Poverty in the last couple of years, according to multiple indicators, has actually increased. Free food grain, no, don't interrupt. I did not interrupt you. 81 crore people.
Well, let him finish. Let him finish. You can respond, please. Let him finish. You can correct him. Let him finish. Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did not interrupt. Don't shout, yeah. Don't shout. I know you won't allow me to complete.
Please, Sanju Verma, let him finish, please.
Very important.
Let him finish. You can correct him point by point. You can rebut him. I'm not running away from here. Neither is he. Yes, very quickly. Finish your point, Doctor.
Rahul, my point is very simple. Then whatever has happened as quote unquote growth has been lopsided, it has been grossly unequal, and it has not lifted millions and millions out of poverty. Instead, it has made a few very rich families even more rich and obscenely rich. Now, the point really is, we have to ask ourselves, is this the model of growth that we actually want? Now, I'm not disputing that India is growing faster than a whole lot of other countries.
Dr. Raman, if it's all so bad, why is it that the BJP keeps coming back?
That's something that we have to look at.
You are not answering my fundamental question. I said, let's for a moment assume all of is right.
Because I will answer that. 3 points. 3 points. Yes, I will answer that. Point number 1, they have a fantastic election machinery. They have the charisma of Mr. Modi, who is able to convince everybody. And they have probably the weakest opposition in the history of Indian politics, which is not able to get its act together, which is faction-ridden and is not even able to put up a common candidate against the BJP in a majority of seats. Those are the 3 reasons that BJP keeps winning.
But so did the communists.
It's a very, very simple equation.
The communists had a fantastic election machinery.
One candidate
perhaps the most
400 seats.
Formidable election machinery. They even had candidates. They even had faces to take to their electorate. But even the communists succumbed. Here you might actually have a hat trick. In Gujarat, you have had almost 6 terms of uninterrupted BJP rule. In several states, they have broken what is a convention or the norm where the state boots out the party that is incumbent. In several states, they've overcome that. So there must be something more to this. Sanju Verma, can you quickly answer? Because I'm running out of time. What is it?
There are these 3 factors.
Okay. Rahul, I just want to make one thing very clear. There have been many tweets by Congress official and unofficial spokespersons about the Oxfam India report. The Oxfam India report says that India is not alone. Richest 62 people in the world globally have wealth equal to the poorest 3.6 billion. The bottom 50% of America's population holds only 2.6% of the global wealth. But it says one very important thing which nobody is talking of. Please now you keep quiet and listen to the truth. The Oxfam India report says that India is the only country during the pandemic which brought down the poorest of the poor ratio to less than 0.43%, and India is the only country where the lowest tax slab starts from 5%. In the UK, it starts from 20%, and in the US, it starts from 10%. The Oxfam India report says comparatively, the distribution of wealth in terms of disparity is far lower in India compared to the rest of the world.
Why do 81 crore people
Okay, look. Okay, that is true. The Oxfam did make certain claims. And yes, there were these claims. One has gone through the Oxfam report. But viewers, 1 second. That's not the point. The point is, if it is all so bad, why is it that the BJP, led by Mr. Modi, has got 2 successive terms in office, especially the 2019 term? How did it manage to get back despite all these corruption allegations, mismanagement, this, that, the other? Viewers? That's the fundamental question. And it's not for you or me. It's for the opposition to think about this more if they are to pose a challenge in 2024. Mr. Modi is ready.